And welcome, good friends. We are back in 7 days today, and today we are going to be doing something kind of funny. And we're going to move away. We're going to be... well, we're going to make a big mess, I think. We're going to dump down a bunch of dynamite here, and let's do another one. And I will actually do quite a few of this one. I'm not sure how much each of these ones are going to be destroying. This looks pretty alright. I'm of course in God mode because I'm flying up here. When you're doing this by yourself, you don't necessarily have to be in God mode. It just makes it a little bit easier for me to demonstrate when I'm doing this. Oh, this might be a bit of a mess. Well, we'll see how that turns out. So the reason I'm here, I am actually up at really high elevation. I'm on the Navigating map, as you can see here. If I show the map, I'm here at, actually when I go down here, oh, well, that's exactly what I wanted to have happen. We're going to make a base. We're going to make a high elevation base. We're about 155 to 160 high. If I go up here, I could probably gain an extra 30 or 40 in elevation. But I'm a bit concerned that the zombies will not have a nice path up. They might be able to run up here, for instance, but I don't want them to start digging in from the side. So I decided that, hey, let me just make something like this. This will do just fine. I suspect the key to this is that it has to be more than probably about 100 blocks high. So if you can get up to 130 to 150 to 160, that's probably going to be enough. If you have less than 100, you might run into some problems that you won't be able to resolve very easily. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a base up here. I mean, it's Christmas time, it's winter time, so what else would be better than making a nice base up in the snowy? And what this means is I'm going to dig out a really big hole here. And this is why I started throwing down my dynamite here. Because dynamite actually does a pretty good job of, well, making a big hole. You see, I dumped down here. And I can keep on just dumping my dynamite in the same location, give or take, which will give me a hole that just goes straight down. So let me do that. And I'm going to go down pretty much down to bedrock, actually. Oh, so I really feel like I'm down in the hole. Well, I'm at the bottom here. I'm at bedrock plus 3 meters, so I am kind of far down. I've made it out this 9 by 9 roughly area. And you can do this with dynamite, or you can auger it and let it fall. It really is up to you. Dynamite might be fun, but it takes obviously some resources. Augering and stuff like that obviously takes a lot longer than that. So it really depends. The concept of this base is really simple. Execution is a little bit more complicated. Oh, well, not complicated, time consuming, because you have to dig this really, really bloody deep hole. And if you enjoy all my base builds, why not hit that subscribe button as well? And why not like the video? So you might be thinking that, hey, you know, it's just going to be a fall trap. It's a deeper fall trap, and that's all it is. And you'd be right and you'd be wrong. But we will get to that one. One thing that is fairly important, though, is that you want to have a sort of a smooth edge here. You don't want to have ledges where the zombies might get stuck on, because if they get stuck, well, they might start actually tunneling in. That's exactly what you want to avoid doing. So I'm just gonna even out a little bit around here as well, because now it looks a little bit lopsided. So let me do that, and I'll get back and we'll continue building. Oh, so to the building. So I'm going to start this by basically lining these areas with ramps. So let's go and around. I'll put the ramps around. Of course, the ramps is to make it a little bit easier for any zombies that are coming here to actually sort of slide in. It's not that they actually will be forced in any way, but having ramps just makes it a little bit easier that they don't have a sort of a sharp edge, and I think it helps to maintain that momentum as they run up here, which they usually do during the Blood Moon Horde. So we're going to do that all around here. I'll probably have to fix the corners. Yeah, I'll fix the corners afterwards, and I'll probably do behind here. I'll probably do like something like this, just the one behind, just to give it a little bit of extra stability as well. But something like this probably will work fairly well. Let me do like that as well. Oh, like that. What I also want to do, I also want to take out a little bit of the wall here and make the wall concrete as well. Probably about, let's see, about 3 down. So something like 1, 2, 3. If I do something like this, I do that all around. That should help, and I will show you in just a moment why I'm doing that. Oh, isn't that nice? So now we have this done, and this is really why I wanted to show and why I wanted to have the plates. So we're gonna put, we're gonna turn them a little bit like this, and we're gonna put them probably 3 like this. And let me do that on this side, and you see it actually blends in fairly well. Not that that really matters, but what we're doing, we're basically gonna create something that is going to be floating. And you might be thinking, hey, what do you mean floating? Impossible. That's impossible. Don't cheat. So no, I'm not going to be cheating, but there's something that happens when you take something like this and then you turn it. And it looks like, hey, this is cheaty, isn't it? Because they are not connected, and it's actually incorrect. These 2 blocks, you see, this is the block space that I'm currently in. This one and this one is actually connected. If you look here, let me take this one out. This one and this one occupies the same space as these ones do here. So in effect, they are actually placed next to each other and they're holding each other up. So this is as strong as if I was doing something like this. Equally strong. Now, the downside with having it like this is that zombies can walk across. The benefit of having like this is that zombies actually cannot walk across because, well, there's just thin air. If there's just thin air, then there's nothing to walk across, which is exactly what we want. So I'm going to do that all around here. And that's the reason why I wanted to make sure I copy rotation. That's the reason why I made this tree high, because I want to make sure I have enough stability. You could probably do this slightly less, but I'd rather have a little bit more. You can start with maybe 1 or 2 and then sort of build yourself up. It depends a fair bit on how much you're going to be building on top of here as well. The more stability you have, the better, so things don't go falling down. But we're going to make a square here in the middle, and let me get that done. And as I do all this building, you might be wondering, is this really going to work out? Is this going to be a lot of effort for, well, something that is going to fail spectacularly? And actually, that's a really good question. The good news is that if this one works, then at least you know that it really works, because I'll be showing it during a Blood Moon Horde. If it fails, well, then you can have a laugh at my expense, and I'm the one who's been spending all this time getting a nice big hole and building this, and you haven't actually wasted any time except, well, I guess, watching this video. And we're going to put in a floor here. I'm actually going to do a wood floor, because I really don't think I need much more than that, because these blocks really should not be taking any damage. I suppose possibly they could, but I don't think they will be taking any damage, so I think this should be okay. But we're also going to be doing, let's do some bars. Let's get some wooden bars to start with. Wooden bars, of course. All these can be crafted. I am in creative mode, and people do highlight that sometimes, that, hey, if you're doing this as creative mode, it's cheating. It's cheating. Well, it's cheating in the sense that it makes it a lot faster for me to build. If I was building this one in non-creative, imagine the time it would take for me to dig out this hole, gather all the resources, and fend off all the zombies and stuff like that. So yes, from that sense, it is creative, but all this stuff can be done in survival as well. It's not like I'm cheating in something that cannot be done in survival. So if we'll see here, now we have this one here. I also made myself a way in, so we can have that. So I'm going to be putting a door here or something. Might be a bit tricky to get in and out, but you know, out should be easy. In, actually, yeah, it might be a bit trickier. That would have been me falling to my death. So which, of course, what? Okay, actually, so you're gonna come here. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Okay, showcase. Show for us what happens as you come up here. And you're gonna, okay, so that's not a very good showcase. If we pretended that you actually didn't push me out of the way, let's put a door. Let's put a door here. Do that. So if there was a door like that, now let's assume there was a snow zombie. Zombie snow. And then he comes here and... Okay, you are still not... Alright, we have to build up a little bit more apparently. Wow, he does a pretty good jump here. So let me build up a little bit more then before I show how this is supposed to work. Okay, so now let's try. Now I've built up a little bit. I put a half roof here. It's not a full roof. I hope he can't actually jump over there. Okay, come over here. And we're gonna close this and yes. And there he goes. Bye-bye. So that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted him to basically jump over here and fall to his death. And let me see, can I jump in here? Oh, I can. You have to be really careful. Oh, so you probably won't have a better way of getting in here, like having a platform where you jump on top of your building, because this works, but if you miss the jump, like here, then you will be falling to your death. Well, of course, I'm in admin mode, so it doesn't really matter. And here's Mr. Lumberjack. He only took 1/3 of his damage, of his total hit points, as you saw, from 300 down to 200. So nothing is going to die. That's one of the changes in fall traps from Alpha 17 onwards, where regardless of how far they fall, they can only take a maximum of 1/3 of their hit points. So, well, that basically means that they're all going to be down there after they've fallen down. They're going to be causing a lot of problem as they go berserk and destroy things. Well, that's the interesting part, and that's actually what we're going to test out. So let me finish up here. I'm going to put some more bars here. And one of the reasons why you want to have bars here, wooden bars are probably not optimal. I probably could have done iron bars. The reason is that you might end up getting vultures. If you do get vultures, then obviously they're not going to fall down there, so you might want to just stand here and make sure you kill them. And I'm going to put down my bedroll like so, and I'm going to do that, and well, let me just tidy up a little bit here, and then we'll give it a bit of a try. And here we are with the actually pretty much finished thing here. We see we have inside the bunker area, we have the outside here that I've slapped some paint on. Let me see if I can get in as well without dying. Yes, and just because you're living out here doesn't mean you can't have any comforts of home. I put a chemistry workbench, obviously my bedroll. I put a lot of storage in. I have a forge, I have a campfire. So yeah, you can pretty much put in whatever you want to. And of course you could make this slightly bigger, not too big though. The thing about all this is that don't fall off when you actually go out. You might want to do something about something more clever, so you can actually come up on top here and jump off rather than trying to jump out the door. But either way, so effectively, as far as structural integrity is concerned, this is all one big solid piece that is hanging in the air. Almost like this. These are the walls of the building that go all the way down to the bedrock, and this is basically just a floor in the middle. So this one is 9 across, which is just fine to hold up with the concrete, so that's no problem. You could make it bigger, but then you probably want to start making it into probably steel, because steel has a lot more structural integrity. You have to be a little bit careful that the bigger you make it, the more problems you have with the size here and the weight inside. What you could do though, that I actually didn't necessarily do, you could actually have another floor here. So let's say if I did something like this, now of course there's only one space here, but I could put in another floor here. It's just fine because it's actually attached to here. So something like this would work just fine, and that would give me another floor to actually exist on. I could put my stuff on it, and if I wanted even more floors, I could basically just go down even further and just add on floors until, of course, you don't want to go all the way down to the bottom, because you want to have the distance of about 100, 110 or something from the bottom to where you are right now. But you definitely could do that. It wouldn't cause any issues as far as structural integrity is, because it's all connected to the walls here. But let me take this out because I don't really need it. So you want to be careful about building upwards, because if you remember how I built this block here that I have right here, and this one is connected. This one and this one is not connected because you see there's basically nothing here. So the structural integrity support is only on this level. As you build upwards, you have none. You actually are hoping that whatever structural integrity you are getting from this side and around is actually going to transfer up and allow you to build here. That's why it's definitely better to build downwards than to build upwards, even though of course upwards look really cool, but then you'll have a lot of collapsing base to deal with as well. So building downwards is definitely preferred, and you can go down, I mean, really far if you wanted to. You just want to make sure you aren't down there when there's a Blood Moon Horde. So with that, I am going to start off a Blood Moon Horde, and I have a pretty high game stage, which is all right, which means I'm going to get a lot of, I guess, demolishers and radiated copper stuff. I am also going to bump up the concurrent zombie count to maybe about 16 to 24 and try that out as well. It shouldn't really make a huge difference. I hope I'll probably get more vultures, which is all right. Everything else, hopefully just ends up running up, falling down, jumping over, and trying to get over to me. At least that's what I hope. And if they don't, I'm gonna have a bit of a problem. And as we move towards a Blood Moon Horde, I hope and pray that things are gonna go as expected. Let's see, so they are spawning somewhere over there. And over there, they're making their way over here. And let's see what they actually do. Alright, so this one, alright, that's alright. It jumped over. That one jumped over. That one jumped over. It did some damage as they jump over, which should be alright. Alright, they seem to go to the same spot, probably because I'm standing here. That seems to be preferred, so they all go for this side. I could repair that from the inside. Not an issue. And then that was probably the last one. Could you hear something? Listen carefully. What does that mean? I'll give you 5 seconds to figure it out. You hear the tune change? So when we started the Horde, we had that aggressive combat music. And then, as the last one jumped down, it all stopped. It went back to the, oh, calm, collected. We're at home. We're taking it easy. We are watching the blood moon from a very safe and cozy and homely house. Of course, if it was raining and everything, I'd get really wet and everything. So maybe I should have had maybe bulletproof glass or something like that. But you know, let's forget about that. Ah, isn't this how you want to have your blood moon hordes? After all that work, and you are safe. Nothing is happening. See, there's no more spawns. Now you might be wondering, hey, didn't they die when they fell down? Well, as you remember the test, it only did damage up to 1/3 of their health points. So none of them died as they jumped down. So that's the first thing. Second thing, well, if they're all down there, surely they're dealing a lot of damage then. Surely, there's tons of damage down there. They are wrecking and bashing and just trying to break everything that is around them. They're just bashing and everything. And eventually, when you do this too much, everything is going to collapse because the whole mountain is being hollowed out. And actually, the answer is, good question. I believe the answer is no. I believe that because we are now at around elevation 149, they are at elevation 3 to 5, or 4 to 5 rather, which means that we have about 145 blocks between us and the zombies. Normally, in previous versions, this has meant that they will actually not necessarily despawn. Let me do this. I don't think they have the spawn. No, they're still here. It doesn't mention that they've actually died, as you can see. But they're too far away from the players to actually do anything. So if they're beyond a certain range, they actually, even though they might be theoretically in the game, they are spawned, they will not do anything. They will be inactive because the game is not necessarily controlling them anymore. So I'm going to sit out the night here. I'm going to wait until the morning, and if I am right, and of course I'm going to speed this up, if I am right, it means that down there's a bunch of zombies doing nothing, and there will be a nice pristine 9x9 hole which hasn't taken any damage. If I am wrong, and am I wrong? Am I wrong? That's the question. No, no, I am not wrong. I am right. I am never wrong. Okay, we're here somewhere in the morning at 2 a.m. and I have gone down here. I'm actually not here physically. I am here just in spirit. My body is up there. And actually, it seems like they have made so that actually zombies will be bashing. They will definitely be bashing even if they are further away than the 100 or 110 or something that before used to basically make them, well, not do anything at all. But you notice something else that is really peculiar. And if you look at these ones, they're just standing around in the middle, but they are definitely digging on this side. Oh, that's a little bit unfortunate because it means that eventually they probably will destroy enough that you'll have a bigger hole. It's probably going to take quite a lot of time because they're actually not digging the whole time. They're digging a little bit, but they're also doing a lot of running around. You see here, they seem like they actually want to be here and then they want to be here. So a lot of the time they're not bashing, they're sort of going back and forth. But it does mean that you will be seeing increasing damage here. I do suspect, however, that eventually we will get a hole that is bigger and bigger here, but then they will stop going further out because eventually they are so far away from the center area. As you can see, right, they'll bash a bit and they'll come back, and then they'll bash somewhere else and they'll come back. And I think that's really going to be happening as well. And I don't think that they're going to be able to do enough damage to actually cause anything to collapse, because even though they are bashing, it's still relatively little. But that's an interesting question. If you run this for, let's say, 100 Blood Moon Hordes, does it mean that eventually it's going to be failing? And that's really difficult to test. But I suspect it will work just fine, because once you hit 4 a.m., these ones are going to stop tracking you. They're no longer going to be the feral Blood Moon Horde zombies. And you see here, now they're in this corner, and some of them are bashing a little bit, but most of them are not. They seem to sort of go out somewhere, come back, go out, come back. So this middle area obviously is going to see damage, but it's a lot less than I was expecting. I was expecting a lot more damage, actually. I thought that they would actually take this whole place down, but they're really not. So overall, I would call this base a success. While we can't be 100% sure that the zombies wouldn't hollow out too much at the bottom, it looks like even though they are bashing a little bit, they're bashing a lot less than they actually could. And most of the time they're just running around or standing around and not doing enough damage. So I think this is really a success. I think you could probably run this Blood Moon Horde base for, you know, quite a few of them until it actually starts to become a potentially any issue. You know, whether it happens at Blood Moon Horde number 50 or 100 is really hard to tell. I would have to run this significantly longer in order to see if the damage at the bottom is so significant, which I don't think so, because it means the whole mountain would be collapsing. And what happens if, even if they dig out, let's say 10 blocks per side, then the blocks beyond that would be holding up the rest of the mountain and things would still not be collapsing. And I think that would make it all right. But what do you think? Do you think it would eventually collapse? Do you think it would all fall down? Well, that's part of fun of gaming. We won't actually know until, well, we keep running this one for, let's say, 100 Blood Moon Hordes, and by then you're going to be on a really, really high game stage and a really late game day, and we're now back at 4 a.m. Oh, isn't that nice? Well, this is my high elevation base build, and it's effectively one big hole with a safe bunker on top of it. At least it looks nice. Maybe we could use it as a waste disposal or a missile silo or something. Well, not if we were living there. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time.
Special thanks to the great patrons supporting the channel. If you would like to join the vetted community and support these videos, do follow the Patreon link.